Welcome to Feminine Vibes, where every change tells a story. I never thought I'd beg my own mother to take me shopping for something so forbidden. "Please, Mom, take me lingerie shopping," I whispered, my voice trembling. My heart raced, my hands shook, and for a second, the world outside our tiny kitchen didn't exist. Wait, what just came out of my mouth? But I needed her to see me. I needed her to understand. And somewhere deep inside, I was terrified and desperate all at once. I could feel the words burning my throat the moment I said them. "Please, Mom, take me lingerie shopping." I hadn't imagined them leaving my lips. My fingers twisted nervously around the hem of my shirt as I watched her pause, the grocery bag halfway in her hand. She didn't flinch, didn't even blink, but the silence that followed felt heavier than the world itself. My chest tightened, and I wondered if she was judging me, or worse, if she was silently laughing at me. I had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in my head. Every night, staring at the ceiling, I imagined how I would say it, how I would explain that it wasn't just curiosity, it wasn't a joke. That I needed this. Needed it to feel right. But now, with her eyes on me, I couldn't move. My voice, which had once been confident in my imagination, now sounded small, brittle, almost invisible. What makes you say that?" she asked finally, her voice calm but soft, like a breeze brushing across a fragile leaf. Her calmness only made me panic more. I wanted to run, to hide under my blanket and pretend I'd never opened my mouth. But I couldn't. I couldn't undo it. I stopped. I swallowed hard. I feel like I need to try. I need to see what it's like to be me. My hands shook so violently that I almost dropped the empty coffee mug I was holding. The sound of it clinking against the countertop felt like it echoed through the room, every tiny noise magnified in the quiet tension. Mom didn't say anything for a long time. I could see her eyebrows knitting, her lips pressing together, and I wondered if she would walk away, leaving me to this shame alone. Every second stretched like hours. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. Why did I think this was a good idea? I thought I was ready. I thought I had convinced myself I could do this with grace. But the reality of asking, really asking, was terrifying. I thought of my friends, of classmates, of every voice that had ever whispered, "You're weird, you're different, you don't belong." I could almost hear them behind my eyelids, their laughter chasing me across hallways I'd never run through. The thought made me curl my fingers tighter into fists, knuckles white. And then there was another fear, quieter but just as powerful. What if she says no? The idea of rejection by my own mother, the person who had always been my anchor, made something twist in my stomach. I imagined the next few weeks, sneaking, hiding, pretending. I imagined the closet filled with secret fantasies, the lonely reflection in my mirror that didn't know what to call itself. But alongside the fear was something else. Something warm and strange. The idea of her agreeing, of her understanding, of sharing this small, intimate part of me, it made my chest ache with anticipation. Maybe, just maybe, she would see me, really see me, and not recoil. Maybe she would let me step into this world, even if just for a moment, and let me feel complete. I waited for what felt like forever. Her hand, which had been frozen mid-air, finally dropped the bag. Her eyes softened, and she leaned against the counter, studying me as if she were trying to see past the surface. "You know," she said slowly, "this isn't easy, is it?" "No," I whispered. It's terrifying." Her lips curved slightly, a faint, understanding smile. "I can see that. And I want to help you. But you have to promise me one thing, you have to be honest with yourself, with me, and with everyone else who matters. This is about you, not about what anyone thinks." I nodded, tears prickling my eyes. For the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope, a spark that maybe I wasn't completely alone in this. My voice returned, small but firmer. "I promise." And in that quiet kitchen, with the smell of leftover coffee and the faint hum of the fridge, something shifted. The struggle hadn't ended. Far from it. But for the first time, I felt like the weight of it was a little lighter. I had said the words. I had asked. And somehow, that alone felt like a victory. The next weekend, we went out together. I could feel my stomach twisting with nerves the entire car ride. Every red light felt like it was holding me hostage, every passerby a silent judge. Mom didn't say much, just drove calmly, as if she knew my thoughts better than I did. And maybe she did. When we entered the store, my heart skipped again. The smell of perfume, fabric, and polished wood made my senses tingle. It was beautiful, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. The rows of delicate lace and silk seemed to whisper to me, each piece promising a version of myself I had only dared imagine in the darkness of my bedroom. I felt a flush creep up my neck. Mom took my hand, and it was grounding. "Let's start slow," she said, her thumb brushing mine. "Feel what you like. Don't worry about anything else." I nodded, but my voice felt caught in my throat. Slowly, hesitantly, I reached for a soft, pale pink lace bralette. I had never touched anything like it before. The lace was delicate, almost fragile under my fingertips. My pulse quickened. The texture against my skin made a shiver run down my spine. I wanted to run, to hide, to shove it back and pretend it was nothing, but I didn't. I wanted this. I wanted her to see me trying. I wanted to see me trying. Mom guided me to the changing rooms. She gave me space, but her presence was a silent support. I stepped inside, and for the first time, the mirror was mine. Alone, I held the bralette against my chest and hesitated. The fabric was so soft, so different from the rough cotton I always wore. Tentatively, I slipped it over my head. My heart pounded, and I felt my breath catch. The reflection staring back at me was me, and yet not me. Softer. Vulnerable. Strange, and yet familiar. I added a pair of matching lace panties. The sensation was electric. Each movement, each adjustment made me hyper-aware of my body. The fabric hugged curves I hadn't noticed before, tracing lines I hadn't dared admire. My hands trembled slightly as I smoothed the lace over my skin, and I realized my reflection was changing too, not just physically, but in my eyes, in the way I held myself. There was a flicker of confidence, a whisper of acceptance. I heard Mom's voice softly through the curtain. "Take your time. Breathe. Look at yourself." I did. I studied every detail. The way the bra lifted, the way the panties fit snugly yet comfortably. The way my chest felt lighter, my shoulders somehow freer. My hair fell differently, framing my face in a way I hadn't imagined. I touched my own reflection as if meeting a stranger who had always been waiting for me. Then came the dresses. A silky nightgown, pale blue with tiny embroidered flowers. I hesitated at first, then slipped it over my head. The fabric slid against my skin like a caress. I felt beautiful. Not like a costume, not like pretending, but beautiful in a way that made tears sting my eyes. I twirled slightly in front of the mirror. The movement felt natural. The reflection wasn't hiding anymore. Mom peeked in, smiling gently. "You look amazing," she said. Her words didn't just acknowledge the clothes, they acknowledged me. Every self-doubt, every secret longing, every tremor of fear. She saw me. I let out a shaky laugh, half crying, half relieved. I feel right," I whispered. "Then that's all that matters," she replied. We spent hours exploring fabrics, styles, and textures. Each item I tried on was like stepping closer to a truth I hadn't dared voice. I learned the weight of silk against my skin, the comfort of lace, the way soft cotton could still make me feel daring. Each reflection, each sensation, was a small awakening. By the time we left the store, my arms were full of carefully chosen items, but more importantly, my heart felt lighter. The outside world hadn't changed, but I had. My reflection in the car window as we drove home was different. I caught myself smiling, truly smiling, and I realized the transformation wasn't just in the clothes. It was in me. That night, I arranged my new pieces on my bed, each delicate garment a symbol of courage, of being seen, of being allowed to exist fully. I tried them on again in the privacy of my room. The fabrics against my skin, the way my body moved, the way my reflection smiled back at me, it all felt like reclaiming a part of myself I hadn't even known was missing. And somewhere between the lace and silk, between the thrill and the fear, I felt a whisper of something new: hope. Hope that I could navigate the world as I was, that I could face judgment and curiosity alike without crumbling. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this was the first step toward living openly, fearlessly, and honestly. A week later, I was sitting in my room, folding the lingerie neatly back into its drawer. The sunlight poured through the window, painting everything gold, but my chest still felt heavy with unease. I had experienced freedom, beauty, and acceptance in the store, but the outside world hadn't seen it yet. And the thought of anyone discovering it terrified me. Mom knocked lightly on the door. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded, motioning for her to sit. She didn't sit on my bed, didn't invade my space. Instead, she stayed by the door, her hands folded calmly. "I've been thinking," she began softly. "About you. About all of this." Her eyes searched mine. "Do you know why I didn't freak out when you asked me to go shopping with you?" I shook my head, unsure if I wanted the answer or if I was afraid of it. "Because," she continued, "I've seen glimpses of you before you even knew yourself. The way you lingered in front of mirrors, the way you picked up scarves or hats and lingered, pretending to be someone else. I didn't want to say anything, didn't want to push. But I knew this day might come." I stared at her, my heart hammering. She knew. She always knew. She smiled, faintly, but there was a gravity in her eyes. "What matters is that you're brave enough to step into it now. Brave enough to explore yourself without shame. But there's something else you need to know." My stomach twisted. Something else? I held my breath. "You're not just exploring curiosity," she said quietly. "You're discovering a part of who you are, who you've always been. And that's something no one can take away from you. Not judgment, not fear, not even me. You've been waiting to meet yourself, and today, you did." I felt my throat tighten, my eyes sting. I wanted to argue. I wanted to deny it. But I couldn't. Because deep down, I knew she was right. The reflection in the mirror wasn't fake. The way my heart fluttered when I tried on lace, the trembling in my hands, the warmth blooming across my chest, it was all real. It had been there all along. Tears blurred my vision. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," she replied, walking closer and resting a hand gently on my shoulder. "Just know that I see you. And I accept you. Every bit of you." I swallowed hard, a mix of relief and fear coiling in my chest. Acceptance felt foreign, almost shocking. And yet, in the same moment, it was like breathing for the first time in years. Then, almost instinctively, I glanced into the full-length mirror on the opposite wall. I was wearing one of the nightgowns, the soft fabric draping over my body, accentuating curves I had tried to ignore. I studied the reflection carefully, expecting to see a stranger, a costume, a shadow of myself. But instead, I saw me. Not just the shell, not just the clothes, but me. Vulnerable, soft, real. And then came the unexpected twist. I felt an unfamiliar emotion stirring alongside relief, pride. Real, unashamed pride. Pride in having the courage to step into the light of my own truth. Pride in having someone I loved witness it, and not recoil. Pride in the delicate lace and silk, yes, but more so in the trembling hands, the quivering voice, the raw honesty that had brought me here. A lump formed in my throat. I never thought I could feel like this," I whispered. Mom smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face. "Neither did I. But this is real, isn't it? You. Right here. Right now." I nodded, tears spilling freely. "It's terrifying, and beautiful. All at once. That's life," she said softly, wrapping me in a hug. Her warmth pressed against me, grounding me, steadying me. And in that embrace, I realized something profound. Transformation wasn't just about fabric or mirrors, it was about being seen, truly seen, and finally allowing myself to exist without hiding. Later that evening, I caught myself in the mirror again. The reflection was no longer shocking, no longer uncertain. The trembling had softened into a steady heartbeat of awareness. I could feel the silk against my skin, the lace tracing curves that were mine, the truth shimmering in every pore. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of anyone seeing it. I exhaled slowly, letting the fear drain away. My body, my mind, my heart, they were aligned. And in that alignment, I felt an unexpected calm. A quiet confidence that whispered, "This is who I am, and that is enough." And somewhere deep inside, beneath the shock, beneath the lingering fear, I found something entirely new, a fragile, trembling joy that was mine alone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at my reflection in the darkened window, tracing the outline of my body, the curve of my hips, the soft swell of my chest beneath the nightgown. Moonlight fell across my skin, turning every shadow into something intimate, sacred. I realized then that I had been living in fragments of myself, hiding, pretending, shrinking to fit a world that didn't understand. And now, finally, the pieces were merging. I slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake Mom. My fingers traced the lace of the lingerie I had worn earlier, the sensation sending shivers up my spine. I felt vulnerable and exposed, yet there was a thrill in it, a sense of daring that made my heartbeat spike. I looked in the mirror, and this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't shy away. The reflection staring back at me was mine, fully mine. The room was silent, yet in my chest, there was music. The kind you feel rather than hear, a rhythm that matched every tremble of my skin, every quiver of my lips, every rapid beat of my heart. I whispered to myself, barely audible, this is me." Tears streamed down my face, hot and urgent, and I laughed softly through them, a sound I hadn't heard in years. The relief was staggering, almost unbearable. Every fear I had carried, the shame, the doubt, the terror of rejection, felt distant now, like shadows fading at dawn. I was finally here, in the most honest and terrifying way possible, facing myself and embracing it. I tried on each piece of lingerie again, slowly, deliberately. The lace, the silk, the delicate fabrics, they weren't just clothes. They were statements, affirmations, declarations of my existence. With each garment, my confidence grew. My hands stopped trembling. My voice, when I spoke aloud, was steady, resonant, alive. "I am me," I said. "All of me." Mom had left a note on my dresser before heading to bed. "You are beautiful. Always have been. Always will be." I held it in my hands, feeling the weight of every word. For the first time, I believed it. I looked in the mirror again, and something remarkable happened. I didn't see a costume. I didn't see a performance. I saw a person, complex, delicate, strong, and fragile all at once. A person who had fought against fear, against doubt, against the world's expectations, and had emerged whole. I practiced walking, moving, feeling the sway of fabric against my legs. Each step was a small victory, a beat in a symphony of liberation. I tilted my head, tracing the line of my jaw, the curve of my lips. I smiled at myself. Not the shy, hesitant smile of before, but a real, fierce smile that acknowledged every struggle I had endured. And then I whispered something I didn't know I had been holding inside for so long, "I'm proud of you." It echoed in the room, in my chest, in every fiber of my being. And in that echo, I realized that transformation wasn't just physical. It wasn't just about lace or silk or the mirror. It was emotional, spiritual. It was the acceptance of self, the acknowledgement of every hidden thought, every secret desire, every trembling heartbeat that had been waiting for this moment. I could feel it coursing through me, a wave of raw, overwhelming emotion that made me want to cry and laugh and scream all at once. Fear was still there, yes, but it was tempered now with courage, with joy, with a quiet, steady strength that I hadn't known I possessed. I sat on my bed, cradling the nightgown to my chest, and breathed deeply. I thought of Mom, of her acceptance, of her gentle guidance. I thought of every small step that had led me here, every whisper of doubt that had been silenced by my own persistence. And in the silence, I made a promise. Not to anyone else, not to the world that might never understand, but to myself, I will live honestly. I will embrace every part of me. I will not shrink. The room seemed to glow in response, or maybe it was just me, radiating something I had never known: confidence, peace, pride, love. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to hide. The mirror no longer reflected fear. It reflected triumph. It reflected liberation. I traced the delicate lace with my fingertips one last time, smiling. "I am enough," I whispered. And in the quiet, moonlit room, the truth resonated. I was finally free. The sun rose the next morning, spilling warm light across my room. I stood before the mirror one last time, tracing the outline of my reflection, and whispered softly, almost to myself, maybe I didn't change at all, maybe I just became who I was meant to be. The silk and lace no longer felt like costumes. They felt like a declaration, a quiet victory, a celebration of every trembling heartbeat that had led me here. Mom's acceptance, my own courage, it all came together in a fragile, shining piece. I smiled, feeling a gentle calm settle in my chest. The world outside was still uncertain, but inside, I was whole. Every fear, every secret longing, every small moment of doubt had brought me to this truth: I was enough. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel for more real, emotional journeys that remind us all we are never alone in discovering ourselves.